What's up, everybody? Hitman BK here. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. The patch notes are out again for the Xbox, PlayStation 5, for Remnant 2. We're going to recover the ground here. It's pretty much going to be like almost like the same video. So if you've already watched it and you don't want to watch this, I completely understand. This time around, I'll talk about like what these patches mean for the players. Sort of use this opportunity to do a redux of the previous video, especially since we had some comments on the last one that was kind of like, hey man, why don't you actually discuss like what this means for the players? So we'll do that on this one. So it could be a bit longer because of that. However, we are at like 150 away from our 1,000 subscriber goal for September. That is a big goal for me. I'm really excited. I appreciate everybody who's been subscribing, liking, and commenting. So if you enjoy the content, if you're having a good time here, if you like the vibe, yeah, hit that button and come on this journey with me. It's gonna be a good time. I'm not gonna stop anytime soon. We'll keep doing this. We got lots of games to cover. All right, let's get into it, y'all. Okay, Doki Artichoke. Here we go. Major quality of life improvements update for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. This first paragraph is the same as the last one. They just copy and pasted this, essentially just thanking everyone for playing, hitting on their major quality of life patch that this is, touching on how they added toggle aim, toggle sprint, potato mode on PC, bug fixes, and so much more. Check out the patch notes below for those, as well as saying they are still planning on going out with another major QoL update. That'll be loads of fun for all players, so stay tuned for more updates. This feels like that new mode they were talking about on Twitter. I feel like if they're saying fun for all players, I'm going to assume they're adding something. Loadouts, crossplay, a new mode, something is going to come with this next one. But let's get into what we have here. So they've adjusted performance and crashes. Performance and crashes are going to be fixing an issue with the Archon's Chaos Gate and the Archon's Havoc form that were impacting the overall performance of the game. They've improved performance on all stages of the Annihilation boss fight. They fixed an issue when picking up an item would cause a small lag hitch for hosts, various crash fixes and optimizations, as well as streamlined back-end connection when joining a player's game. These are great performance and crash fixes, right? We talked about the performance issues people are having. Hopefully this will continue to alleviate those. I doubt this patch is going to fix everybody's issue, but this is always a step in the right direction, and they are obviously addressing the network issues that people have been facing, and I'm sure will continue to do so, especially with the idea of crossplay. Is that, you know, I imagine like if they're going to add that, they're obviously going to have to get this networked locked in. Honestly, I'll take a loadouts before crossplay, but that's just me. All right, quality of life stuff. They've added an option to hold sprint in gameplay settings. They've added an option to enable toggle aim in gameplay settings. So these are just big things that the player base had requested. They're not things I really use or things I think that are like game changing in terms of like whether or not you're going to replay. They are literally just quality of life improvements. It's always nice to have a hold sprint and a toggle aim option. It was weird not to have those on launch. And when turning off aim assist while using a controller, it also turns off aim adhesion. So that's also pretty cool, especially if you're playing on PC. Gear items, rigs can now downgrade weapons, refunding 75% of materials used in upgrades and 50% of the scrap. This is a big change, especially for hardcore players. If you haven't tried hardcore yet, this is a good reason to try it, because you know you may not get the role you want, you may not get the weapons you want, and it actually won't hurt you now to upgrade whatever you just get at the start. And then when you get the weapon you were looking for, that you want to continue your hardcore run with, you can go back, downgrade the weapon you didn't want, use all those mats to upgrade the one you do want. So for hardcore players, this is actually a rather huge change. Dwell can now downgrade mutators. This is the same thing. So the mutators you may have, I don't know how much this is going to pertain to normal runs, because obviously, you know, you're going to have a lot of stuff and you don't, and there's not really a reason to downgrade, but I mean, it's still there. That obviously it's nice to have the option. This is just incredible for the hardcore runs, since you start with nothing, slowly gain things, and you may not like what you're gaining, but at least you know you can now update it with the idea of downgrading it when you do get the piece that you want. They've also added consumable duration to advanced stat page on the character menu. This is also a great change. It's just to give you immediate feedback on where you're at on your consumables. I'm looking at all the Archetype people who are playing as the Alchemist. So Bug fixes. We have progression and rewards bug fixes. This is another trophy achievement bug fix that has been put into place, and you need to hit the world stone to activate it. So these have been slowly being retroactively fixed as they go along. This might even be the last one. You'll have to sound off if it's not. They fixed an issue where if a player crashed in a tutorial when interacting with rigs before receiving an upgrade, they would be soft locked in tutorial. That's self-explanatory. Fixed an issue where objectives would not set correctly if quitting at various locations. Fix an issue where only the player who dealt the last hit on an enemy will receive credit for the kill. This goes to your minions too. It's going to be under the summoner archetype fixes. If your minions hit somebody first, your turret hits somebody last there, you may not got credit for the kill. You also may not have got like XP. So these have now been fixed. They fixed an issue where if the player had the Thayan fruit buff experience a soft lock, they were dragged away by the bone harvester. So this just fixes that Thayan fruit. The Thayan fruit, if y'all don't know, you need to go find it. It's fantastic. You put a seed into the garden. That seed then gives you a Thayan fruit. As the tree grows, that fruit will actually kind of give you a free self-res. Fixed an issue where the blood moon door would not correctly open during some blood moons. Big change, big fix here that was needed, because if you could not get through the blood moon door during the blood moons, then you could not get the ring. I think it's a ring needed to do shade step or misstep or whatever it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what that was locked behind. And this is a good one too. Fix an issue where blood moon wisp would not spawn correctly during some blood moons, because you need the blood moon wisp to get all of the cool with blood moon wisp items from Yeisha. So including the summoner. So that was great. Hopefully this will make it easier to farm the wisp in the blood moons. In terms of our archetype fixes, I was telling you about the summoner ones. This is all kind of tied to minions not sharing, not getting the essentially credit for getting the kill if your minion did it. So that's been fixed. They've fixed an issue where summoner minions were not receiving shared damage from the blood bond trait. That's a trait that you can put on for summoner that actually like pulls damage away from you and puts them on your summons instead. Fixed an issue where summoners were unable to be summoned during a checkpoint before the cancer mini boss fight. Fixed an issue where Dominator perk stayed active after switching an archetype, and the experience boost here, as I was just telling you about, you will now get experience if your minions kill an enemy for you. Fixed an issue where minions were unable to target Shahala. Obviously, again, this is all pretty self-explanatory stuff here. Fixed an issue where minions would potentially continuously respawn when interacting with an NPC. So great overhead fixes on summoner. The engineer, we have the issue where players would swap off the engineer's heavy weapon after an interaction. So that's fixed. Fixed an issue where reclaimed heavy weapons would disappear. It picked up while a player was holding aim. Fixed an issue causing heavy carry backwards evade to cost double stamina. So if you had a heavy carry and you tried to evade, you actually like cost you double stamina. In case you didn't know that, now you do, but they fixed it. So they fixed an issue where turrets were not granting experience when killing enemies. I told you all that. And fixed an issue where turrets could be active during ending cinematic. So, and that's just like a minor annoyance for some people, right? Archon got fixed an issue where the mastery reward description incorrectly refers to amplitude. So this is going to be a fix towards the actual information in the mastery reward description. So if you look in that now, that should be fixed. Gunslinger, they fixed an issue where ammo boxes dropped extra ammo that could not be picked up and would persist across rerolls. So this was like a pretty horrible bug if you're playing Gunslinger where you'd see this ammo but you could not get it. That's now been remedied. And then the handler, same thing. Very Good Boy was not granting experience when killing his enemies, and they made a little funny joke here saying he just gets excited sometimes and it's not his fault. These are a giant plethora of fixes that we'll hit on right here. I'll try to just cover the ones I think that are the most important. Fixed an issue where heavy weapon ammo was lost after a player leaves the game while holding a heavy weapon. Obviously, is a big sad, so that's been remedied. The engineer's flamethrower would not correctly target flying enemies. There was a big problem with the flamethrower, in my opinion. I think this fixes it now, where you would throw it out, and if there was anybody flying, it's like the flamethrower didn't know what to do. Especially even the boss in Yeisha who'd be floating, it like would not hit him. The fixed an issue where the Big Bang mod did not work correctly with the Spirit Wisp mod. So if you were having the Big Bang mod on while you had the Spirit Wisp mod on, these two were not doing as they were intended to do. That has since been remedied. Merciless Bleed reticle was inconsistent due to weapon spread improvement, so they fixed the Merciless reticle, which is good because it's a very good weapon. If you're not using Merciless, pick it up, try it out. I really like it. They fixed an issue where the cube gun projectiles were able to push mini faces. That is a boss. And it's literally just a random bug. They fixed an issue where Meridium not damaging Executioner and the Royal Archers in Losum. The Plasma Cutter weapon Phantoms were not terminating correctly. Three things on Plasma Cutter: unable to do full damage against the Legion and could not hit Abomination's weak spot. So this is tied to boss fights. So you can now use your Plasma Cutter in those boss fights. Ruin Pistol audio loop would continually play when holstered. That's just an annoying bug that has now been remedied. Plasma Cutter could deal incorrect amounts of damage, so you actually see correct numbers now when you're using the Plasma Cutter. The Ouroboros Deceit Sword Fragments pass through the Corruptor boss, again fixing some boss interaction here with these weapons. This is a big one I was mentioning too in the previous video. Starfall Sagittarius area effect was incorrect. It never actually showed like how big the area effect was, and the entire point of that mod is the area effect, and the Starfall mod was not working with mod duration. So even if you had a long mod duration on the Starfall mod, it actually was not proccing that, so it should be doing that now. They fixed an issue where the second arrow from the Moonlight Barrage had an inconsistent trajectory. That's again just kind of honing in on the Moonlight Barrage, helping it do better, obviously, because with an inconsistent trajectory, that was a big sad. This fix right here with the Aphelion and Nightfall, it did not have force feedback on controllers were being used. So if you're using a controller, you will now have feedback. I wonder if that's also what caused it to do double damage. That has now been fixed as well. And PC, which means I assume it's in this patch here. Those weapons no longer do double damage. Let's see, y'all. This as well as a nice one, having the Spore Shot, Rotted Arrow, scaling with mod duration is good. Those are some of the highlights of the weapons. I think that pretty much touches on it for trinkets. Trinkets are interesting fixes here. These are some good ones. Focusing Shard had no effect when crouching. Obviously that sucks, so that has not been fixed. Burden of Warlock wasn't calculating cost correctly with the Starshot mod. So now you will have accurate costs with the Burden of Warlock and the Starshot mod. Hyperconductor was allowing a free skill charge. Kind of I'm sure many people were enjoying that, and that is now gone. Encrypted Ring Effect wasn't triggering correctly with mod use. Game Master's Pride was not working as intended with damage mitigation abilities. Again, a lot of these are some bugs tied to the actual function of the trinkets and them no longer either not doing those functions or doing unattended functions. Some weapons would not detonate root bulbs and shot canisters, so that's been fixed. The Provisioner's Ring was not correctly replenishing bullets. That will now replenish your bullets if you are using that. One-Eye Joker buff would remain after an item was removed, so they fixed that. Let's see what else we have, y'all. The Ring of Omens was negating the encumbrance effect on all vault actions. So that was obviously unintended. The encumbrance effect is now back on with the Ring of Omens. It fixed an issue where you couldn't use Misstep, which is Ring of Omens plus Amulet during a heavy carry. So if you are rocking a heavy carry, you now can use Misstep. Misstep is really cool. It's sort of where you like disappear into mist and then like almost like a teleport. I highly recommend it. You use it by combining those two. Tightly wound coil would not activate correctly when using the cube gun, so that's been fixed. Let's see. The Mutator was triggering from destroying breakables. So some of these all are also exploiting the mods. So that's, you could call it a nerf, but essentially it's unintended effects that have now been fixed. And they fixed an issue where the Momentum Mutator was applying double critical damage. So you're probably going to feel like you're doing less damage now if you are using the Momentum Mutator. So just keep that in mind. That was unintended damage. It has now been fixed. For items and consumables, Mudtooth, they fixed the issue where Mudtooth actually wouldn't sell Discover concoctions if you had 0 in your inventory. So you should be able to go back to Mudtooth now and see those concoctions that you've unlocked, even if you have 0 in your inventory. Toma Knowledges actually weren't showing that they were giving XP and scrap. This is saying that they were, and they've essentially just fixed it so that it will show that you are getting XP and scrap every time you pick up a Tome of Knowledge after you've hit max points, which is 65. Fixed an issue where the Panaka perk for the Alchemist was not being applied when using an Ethereal Orb. The Elixir of Life would not trigger Regenerator, the Medic Prime perk, so that's now been fixed, which is big because like if you're using medic, you kind of want your prime perk. let's see. The Thayan fruit buff would be lost when restarting a game, so you'll keep that now if you have not died. Well, obviously. The You Are Dead screen wouldn't display from some of the deaths while Thayan fruit was active, so they fixed that. The Orb of Undoing became unusable, so that's how you undo all your points and redo it, which is now limitless. So it's good that they fixed that, so you can obviously do that. Yeah, those feel like some of the bigger ones. A lot of enemy changes here. What this honestly means is it's very tied to the trinkets. I was looking through these. Some of these are going to be visual bugs. These were some unintended effects when you were fighting that had been fixed, as well as unintended effects with like some weapons. Like here's a big one right here. The plasma cutter was dealing weak spot damage to Lady Orb when not hitting the weak spot. So obviously some of these are, again, unintended effects that should not have been happening that have fixed it now. So you might see or feel you are doing less damage when in reality you are now doing the correct amount of damage. So I suggest all of you just go out and try it out, because you know, some of these are great. Like the aberration visual effects were removed by Hunter's Focus and Hunter's Shroud, so now you'll see those again. Like some of these are just fun little unintended effects that were happening, right? That have now been fixed. And the same with the UI. They fixed grammatical errors. They fixed icon issues not being displayed correctly. They fixed where the acid text color was inconsistent across all items. Like these are just really just straight up quality of life fixes, y'all. So when you get in, like things hopefully make more sense. The information that is being shown to you is accurate. Obviously, which is really important when you're trying to make builds in this game. And then there's a bunch of miscellaneous fixes. I think some of the bigger ones are this Thayan fruit tree again would be screwed up if the user changed their system clock time, your flashlight disappearing. Let's see. The player freeze, you would freeze if you did multiple melee attacks before interacting with a door. So that's now been fixed. So again, just a whole plethora of quality of life changes across the board. And that's it. The best one here is fix an issue where holding aim while getting staggered would not allow a player to aim after being staggered. So you would be aiming, get staggered, not be able to aim again. That has now been fixed. So yeah, y'all, this is a nice, just smooth layer of QoL over the game. What this means for the game is if you're tired of the game, it's not going to bring you back to the game. But if there were things that you felt were in the way of your fun, hopefully this has come in and fixed some of those things so you can continue to have fun. I don't think there's anything in here to go re-experiment with anything really. And if you're still taking a break from the game, enjoy that break, because I am sure there's content coming down the line that will push you right back into it. I know I've been taking a little break playing some Starfield. This has just been a huge year for games. So it's honestly been a lot of fun. I mean, if you're a gamer, this is a great time to be a gamer, right? But I can't wait to get back into Remnant. I do want to continue my hardcore run as well. And I'm actually looking, the biggest change in all of this is being able to downgrade mutators and weapons, especially on my hardcore run. This is going to be fantastic. So yeah, if you guys are still here and you are enjoying everything and you like what I'm making, please subscribe. Come hang out, come join the Discord, hang out with our filthy casual family. And yeah, I'm Hitman BK, and I will see you on the next one. Later. Got the hiccups, y'all. Okay, where's the stop? Where's the stop button? There it is.